Welcome to the Simpler Business Podcast, where we talk about ways to do what you love and serve your people in a way that brings you income and freedom. I'm your host, Marissa Roberts. Join me as I chat with my favorite entrepreneurs about how they simplify their biz so that you can simplify yours. There are a lot of areas when it comes to finances that us business owners often aren't aware of. It's not our area of expertise, so we don't think about a lot of the financial information we need to run our businesses. When was the last time you thought about how often you need to review your finances or notice the bottlenecks in your business that are slowing your growth? Are you pricing products to ensure that you're making a profit? Do you know if or when your cash is about to run out? Are you clear on how much you need to set aside for taxes? My guest today is here to help business owners like us understand more about our finances and show us the things that we really should be keeping an eye on. Lauren Colson is, in her words, a number geek with people skills. As the owner of Colson Strategies, she runs a small but mighty team. Lauren finds passion in helping business owners make the best, most informed decisions through financial information. Lauren knows you're working hard to grow your business, and as a financial expert, she doesn't take that lightly. And along with her team, she takes the scary out of your finances so you can focus on what matters most. Her job is to empower entrepreneurs with the tools they need to make the best decisions in their business. And Lauren is more than a business owner. She's a mother of two, a coffee lover, a book reading, beach loving mindset enthusiast. Lauren, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Marissa.
You know what? We could talk for hours on mindset, on books, on everything. I'm like, yep, totally on the same page. But finances, oh my gosh, I think our listeners are really going to find this helpful because we tend to start our business because we love the thing that we do, but we don't realize that the number crunching is going to be such an important factor that influences the outcomes long-term for our business. We kind of just jump in and feel like we're going to wing it with the money and we want it to flow in, but we don't really think about what we're going to do with it then, or what we're going to do if we have gaps in our income or slow times in our business. And that's really scary stuff, right? Everybody wants to stick their head in their sand and not think about it. So it's really nice that we're going to have this conversation and hopefully get people more comfy with the idea of getting to know their business finances.
Heck yeah, I'm excited.
It'll be really good. All right, let's jump in. I've got some questions for you. And the first one is, I've heard you talk about money leaks. And I know on your Facebook page, I think you've talked a little bit about this stuff too. So what I'd love to know is what, in your words, are money leaks in your business, and what are the ones you tend to spot over and over again with your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So money leaks are areas where you are spending money or not getting as much money as you should be in your business because of an area that you're not paying attention to, or you're not looking at, or you're not aware of. So money going out or not coming in, that doesn't need to happen.
Oh, that's interesting. So money going out as in expenses that you're paying for that you're not necessarily using?
Exactly. So I'll give you, let me rewind and give a little bit of background, and then I'll jump into some examples.
Okay,
So
cool.
Making sure that you have timely and accurate financials is so important, that you are reviewing your financials on a timely basis and that you can rely on the data, right? So garbage in, garbage out. If they're not correct, if they're not a useful tool, then you're not going to get the value out of them. So that's step one. And it's important that we look at them on a regular cadence. I'd say at the least monthly. And the reason is because if you're looking at it only quarterly, so you're looking 3 months later, there may be things you're seeing that you could have fixed earlier. Like, oh, we don't need to pay for that. And now I just paid for that for 3 months. Or this is going really well. We could turn the gas up on this and make some more revenue here. But I'm just now realizing this. And so that's why it's important to look and know your numbers really well. What makes your company tick from the number side?
Yeah, I never thought about it from an idea of we could be expanding what we're doing and make more money if you actually spot what's working. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's not just a negative thing of where do I need to cut back. It's, wow, we had an awesome 3 months. We've got a lot of money coming in. What kind of investments could we have made sooner? Maybe we could have made that higher sooner and taken more pressure off the team, or we could have doubled down on this product or this service line. So you want to think about it from both ways.
Yeah, that's so true. And is monthly, I think monthly is a good place to start, because when we do 3 months, I know from my experience, if I get 3 months down the track and I'm looking at my bookkeeping software, there are charges or expenses going out when I'm trying to reconcile that I don't remember what it
Yes.
was I paid for. Like, I have to go searching in my email for invoices because I'm like, what's this $8.99 I spent?
That's a really great example. So if you're someone that's doing your own bookkeeping, if you stay on it monthly, it's going to be fresh. And then you can say, oh, this $8.99 is for this software tool. We don't even use that. Delete,
Yeah.
cancel.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Every
And do you
dollar
think,
adds up.
is it okay to do it like within the month? Like, if you're somebody who's like, no, I'm probably going to forget after a week, I better just check in weekly. Is that too much, or is that okay?
No, I would say it totally depends on what works best for you. If it's like, I want to do it weekly, so I, am only looking at 20 transactions a week versus 100 at the end of the month, then yeah, break it down into chunks. Or if you're like, I'd rather batch it, I set apart 2 hours at the end of the month to do it all. That's my finance review time. It's really what works best for you.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's really about if it's going to feel better, go with that way, right? So if you feel
Right.
better taking care of it every week so that it's not like weighing on you, or it doesn't feel like a big job at the end of the month to do it weekly. But if you're somebody who like hates the job, you're okay to batch it because then you feel really productive and you don't have to worry about it for another 30 days. That's going to feel much better. So yeah, okay. I love that. Align it with your own sort of how you feel about it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly, because finances are not everybody's strong suit. I mean, most people, unless you're like me, you didn't start a business to do financial work, right?
Yeah,
um,
that's true. You've
so
really got to love it.
yeah, you don't want it to be this like looming over you every month. You really wanted to get in a position where it's like, I'm really excited to see how we did this month, areas we can improve, and what's working really well.
Do you think we procrastinate on checking the numbers because we're like scared to see what they're going to be?
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
there's some shame involved if you're like, we didn't have a good month. Well, that's okay. Not everybody has a great month, but what you need to do is learn from it. Like, well, what caused us to not have a good month? Are our prices too low and we're really not making enough money in the services that we're providing? Do we need to look at our product pricing because it's our margins aren't strong enough? Like, why? Understanding the why so you can make changes to have those better months.
Really love that you went into those examples then. It's not just if you're having a low month income wise, it's not that you're not good at running your business.
Yes.
It's often the database stuff, like how much are you pricing your products and services for? Like, do they actually allow you to run your business, or are you pricing just hoping that someone will say yes because the price is low? Like, those sorts of decisions, they really add up over the course of a year or two in your business.
They do. And that's where your numbers tell the story of the business. So everything you do in your business impacts your finances. And so understanding like it's not a I did good or bad, it's a here's where we're at. And we can make changes, good or bad, based off of that. And that knowledge is really powerful to help you make those decisions of, well, let's not launch the product in blue because the red product is not doing really well at all. I think we need to scrap that product line and focus our time and efforts here, or forget everything else. The demand is so high. Let's sell that red and blue product and just focus completely on that.
Yeah, that takes a lot of pressure off actually, to be able to make decisions based on the data rather than feel like you have to wing it and that you're solely responsible to intuitively do it. Yeah, that takes a lot of pressure off. So that's pricing, I think, is one mistake that I see a lot of the time when I'm working with people is like it's always too low, always too low. It always causes too much stress. What mistakes do you see business owners making? Are there things that pop up again and again for you that you see that they're kind of getting wrong and it's really affecting the outcome of their business when it comes to making money?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big one of them is making short-term decisions that impact long-term profitability. And so a great example here is hiring or outsourcing something. And so if you're in a position where you're a super small business, you've just started, you're doing everything. Well, we've all been there, right? That's something you've got to get over. But once you get to a point where you have some cash flow and you can offload some of those tasks, it's a hit to your profitability, right? Because you're like, well, I'm doing it for free. Now I have to pay someone to do that. So I'm going to make less money. But really, getting that time back for you to focus on the things you like, you enjoy, the vision of the company, the strategy, the sales, that is what is going to increase your profitability in the long term. So you have to make those decisions understanding, okay, I'm going to be a little bit tight or less on cash flow for the next couple months, but I'm going to get that back with this hire.
Yeah, I suppose it makes sense too. When you start to hire and delegate, once those people are trained up and it's going well, you've got this new ability to scale your business. You can take on more work without burning out. You can still deliver a high quality service at a higher level of turnover because it's not just you anymore. And there's less risk of if something happens to you and you need to take time off, your business doesn't pause while you're out of it. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we can all relate to that too, is that fear of I'm finally earning money in my own business. I don't want to spend it on somebody else when I could be like hoarding the cash just in case. We all go through it. So anyone listening today, if that's what you're thinking, if that's the stage you're at, honestly, I'm pretty sure every business owner feels like that at some point. And it's usually a sign that it's time to outsource if you're feeling that way.
Yes. And I think there's nothing wrong with hoarding some cash. Like, absolutely. While you are the person doing everything, save up a little bit of a reserve. So you have that comfort of, okay, we've got some cash here if anything happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Or save up an amount of money so that you can then hire somebody for 3 or 6 months and see how it goes, right? If you've got a cash reserve and you can pay for them for that time, that takes a lot of pressure off too, because then you don't feel like they have to deliver in the very first week in order to get your money's worth. You've got that buffer of pay ready for them, ready to go. So there are clever little things we can do in there to make it easier to manage finances in terms of scaling and outsourcing that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about knowing your numbers. What that allows you to do is to understand when you are paying for things that you shouldn't or incurring expenses, having some of these money leaks in the business. And so a big one we see is on the software front, because how many times do you sign up for a free trial for 30 days, forget to cancel it, and it starts billing you and you forget? Or if you have a team and you have to buy license for every team member, but then someone leaves and you don't cancel their license. So you're paying for this license that no one's using. And even just the $20 a month, that adds up when you look at it across a year or years if you're not keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
And so we actually have a software tracking tool I can share with you all that is a really great outline to understand what softwares you're using, what purpose they serve, and helps you keep an eye to make sure you're not getting charged for anything you're not using.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'll make sure we link to that then in the show notes, because that's one of the things that pops up over and over again when I'm talking in entrepreneurial circles, is people going, oh, I totally forgot I signed up for that deal. I've been paying for it for 3 years. I didn't even know I had it anymore. But also the number of seats, what you said about paying more, the more people you have using the software, the higher you pay. I never even thought about it from that point of view. If somebody leaves the company, you're still paying for their seat for the software. Now I have to go back and check all of mine again.
Well, use our software tracking tool to help. Yes, exactly. Someone's got to go manually in and say, okay, reduce the seat. So it's a task that you want to make sure also that you're baking into your offboarding process if you have a team, so you're catching it before you're getting charged.
Yeah, so it's part of the process, so you don't have to rely on your memory, that you're actually going to think to do it. Isn't it funny? We have so many processes for our client work, and then we're quite procrastinating on creating processes for our internal stuff, because I always feel like we have to be like so busy delivering, and then all the stuff that could be going smoother behind the scenes and behind the curtain, we kind of leave for a while because we'll just get to it when we have time. We never have time.
Yes, there's never a good time. There will never be time. You'll never want to sit down and do it. It's not a fun, sexy thing, but it's important.
Yeah. And once you do it, it's taken care of. Everything works fine. You can just tweak on a regular basis rather than have to do everything on a regular basis. And I think that's why I liked what you said about reviewing your finances and really knowing your numbers on a regular basis, on that monthly basis. It all kind of ties into that, just having that kind of overall knowledge of how things are ticking along and the confidence you get from that, from knowing those numbers. Yes, it's scary when you first start looking, but once you get that knowledge and you get comfortable with where you are, it's like there's no going down at that point. Everything just steps up and up and up every month, and you get more confidence too. Yeah.
It's
So
really empowering. Yeah, because you can use those skills that you're building and that confidence to help in other areas of your business.
yeah, it all intertwines. It all affects affects everything else. And yeah. Well, what about bookkeeping though? So I've got pretty much, it's a 50-50. Half of my clients have bookkeepers, half of my clients do their own books. And there's great software out there. Like, I'm a big fan of Xero, but even me personally, I can use Xero and I can reconcile my accounts. I still don't really understand why I'm doing that or what exactly it is that, if somebody said, yeah, but what is reconciling? I'd be like, I don't know. Xero tells me to do it and I think I'm doing it right. What do you think are the biggest benefits of having a bookkeeper? Because I'm leaning towards we should all have one.
Yes. Well, I agree. And so I'll say the first benefit is if it's not your area of expertise, we've talked about, it can be a draining task. It can be something that you dread, something you put off, and something where you're just maybe not know what are the things that I should be looking for? What should I be thinking about? And so having a trained expert where, that's where they get their passion is helping, small businesses with their bookkeeping will, one, give you back the time and energy to focus on growing the business if that's your goal. And two, you're getting timely and accurate financials. And they're also there to partner with you and help you be proactive on things like, hey, I know you're looking at the reports, but I saw a big uptick in software expenses this month. You might want to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
They're a partner and they help you, or they can explain, hey, we work with a lot of different marketing agencies and your profit margin is a little bit lower than what we're seeing over there. Just want to give you a heads up, like that might be something you want to look into. So there's various different things that they can bring to the table like that.
Yeah, I never thought of that before. It's not just the numbers, it's also the insight and know-how and their experience and their insights that they get from the history of work that they've done in the past. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
so I think too that makes sense then. If you're at a point in your business where you're like, I can't do it all myself anymore. I've got to start delegating. Bookkeeping was one of the first things in my business that I delegated. And it was for that reason. It was because I didn't really enjoy it. I like the creative flow. I'm not great with numbers. I never seem to be able to make them work. And B, it was like, what's the best way to put it? I felt like having a bookkeeper to take care of that for me took a lot of mental pressure off. It was one less thing. It wasn't just the act of doing my books, it was learning how to do it. It was all the time and effort I had to spend into Googling something or researching something or checking whether or not I'd done it right. That was hours more than I anticipated every month. Like I thought, okay, I'll just go into my books. It'll be like an hour to do all of everything.
Yeah.
But I spent so much time trying to research exactly what I was doing and figure out and worrying about whether or not I was doing right. I was dedicating a whole day to it. And then when I first started outsourcing it, yes, I still go in and I reconcile and I have a look at some details now, but it takes so much pressure off when you've got somebody who knows what they're doing, knows the questions that you don't know to ask and the answers that
Right.
you don't even know you need. It just, yeah, it takes it to a whole new level, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I do want to point out too that obviously big fan of outsourcing it, but it's important that you don't just outsource this and say, well, it's getting done, so there's nothing I need to do here. You still need to be looking at the numbers and understanding what's going on, like we've been talking about, to
Yeah.
help the future growth of your business, but you have someone doing all the work behind it and helping, point things out to you.
Yeah. So they do the work, give you the insights, but you're the one that essentially needs to know the numbers in your business and make the decisions as a result of knowing them. So it's a good partnership.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And it makes sense to me having a bookkeeper. They're going to want your business to do well too because you're paying them. So they want to make
Right.
sure you've got enough money to pay them.
Yes, exactly. We
Yeah.
want to see you succeed. We want to be able to watch you grow. I mean, that is, I think, one of our team's like most exciting things is when we start with a company that may be super small and we get to see them grow. It's so exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun for everybody, I think. Everybody gets invested in their own way. Like I know I've heard people say, I think I've heard Gary Vee say, nobody's going to love your business as much as you are. And yes, that's true. But I'll tell you what, when I've partnered with people that have helped me in the growth stages of my business, you can see their eyes light up when things go well. It's their work that they're contributing to your business. So they have a personal interest and investment in your business too. So they're just as excited to see it succeed as we are.
Exactly. That's a really good point.
This has been such a fun chat. I feel like we've covered so much in such a small space of time. And I really think money leaks is something that's going to resonate and stick with me for a while. Like I feel like after we sign off today, I need to go through my books again and just double check my software subscriptions. I'm going to use your tracker for sure because I could not tell. You know what else? It's like all of the online programs I've bought in the past, I've forgotten half of them that I've even You know what I mean? Like, so getting my money's worth that way, I should be able to track things like that. And software is something I never thought of. I always just thought, well, I buy it, I use it all the time. I'm always going to remember what I have. But even now, I'm pretty sure I have something like cast magic and I haven't touched it in 6 weeks.
Yeah. And sometimes you realize like we're paying for this tool. Well, this tool does that. So we only need one of them, right? And so that's when your organization grows and you have, different departments or teams that can kind of make that issue worse because there's not that, discussion. They're like, well, we need this tool for this purpose. So having a one place where you can track all the software and kind of do that analysis is really helpful.
I really wish I had that a few months ago when I realized that I was paying for Otter AI for transcription and I was also paying for Loom, which has transcription included in the subscription. And I was like, no, I paid for a whole year.
That's such a great point. Yes. And that's on the money leak software point. That is something on the flip side of that is paying annual subscriptions for tools that you are going to use is a great way to save up to 40% off discounts they'll do if you lock into a year versus month to month. So if you've got the cash flow for it, that's another way that you can reduce expenses and looking at the numbers and understanding and having a forward thinking mindset of here's what's happened, what are we expecting for the next year is going to help you make those decisions.
Yeah. I mean, we're always going to need a website. We're always going to need an email marketing system. Those things, let's lock in that year at a time. I think with ConvertKit, which is the one I use, you get a really big saving when you do annual instead of monthly.
Right. It's kind of wild for some of them.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. All right. So I'll make sure we've got a link to the software tracker in the show notes. But if anybody wants to see more from you, Lauren, where can they find you? Is website best, social media? Where do you hang out most online?
So you can find us at their website. There's ways to contact us at colsonstrategies.com. That's COLSON. And I'm a huge LinkedIn fan. So that's where I'm hanging out. So DM me, reach out on LinkedIn. Would love to chat. And that's my social media of preference right now.
I love that you have one of preference. I'm the same. I'm Instagram as a default because every time I try and do more than one, I ghost everybody on all of the platforms. But when I just focus on one, I actually show up every week. So yeah, makes sense.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. I'll make sure those links are there so you can learn more from Lauren when you need to. Check out the software tracker. I think you're going to find that it is the thing that you do this month that frees you up a little bit more in terms of money and stress in your business. So you're going to love it. I hope you've found this episode as enjoyable as I have found this conversation. Thank you, Lauren, for being here. And I will see you all in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Simpler Business Podcast. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to make it nice and easy for you, just the way we like it. If you're ready to simplify and scale your business, you can get started with my free audio class at marissaroberts.com. See you next time.